Okay, good evening, Ham Radio 2.0. Oh, look at that. I'm getting a text message. I'm going to need to mute that. If you guys are not part of my text messaging app, please sign up tonight. All right. We're going to get started here in just a second. Glad everyone's joining us tonight. Really excited to talk about tonight's topic and curious to see who all in the chat has something to say. Let's see. Switch over here. Good evening, Ham Radio 2.0. Thank you for joining us today. And really, this has been a day full of ham radio activities. We did our first ever YouTubers Bunch recording about 3 hours ago, and had 6 other YouTubers on the Zoom session except for me. So we recorded an episode about the FCC $35 fee, the FCC statement about using ham radios for illegal stuff. That was kind of weird, but yeah, we had a good time with that. You guys let me know in the chat how the audio is. Chris says, if you're talking, I can barely hear you in the music. Well, that's because the music should be gone now, so it's not supposed to be. Music is just the intro, so you are good. But we did a ham radio, or I'm sorry, we did a YouTubers Bunch recording. I joined Hayden at Ham Radio DX for his Ask an Elmer live stream. That was fun. I had it's the first time he's invited me that before, and I always had a conflict, and tonight I was able to join him. And it was a fun time. So hopefully a lot of you guys joined us on that and had some good questions and answers on that show. So I want to just take a couple of minutes here and do some announcements on the stream. First off, shop.hamradio2.com has some new hoodies. It's actually one right over there. Let me grab it. I should have had that here, but I didn't. These are some hoodies. They come in large, extra large, and double X. Ham Radio 2.0. Those are a limited supply. Obviously, I'm not going to be selling hoodies in June and July. So those are on shop.hamradio2.com right now. Once they're sold out, they're gone. And I might do something kind of special for this summer. For those of you with heat issues like we have in Texas, there's always that. But also, on the website, those of you guys who are DMR fans, I've had these DMR t-shirts up for a while. I put them on half price right now. DMR and Brandmeister DMR, those aren't right here. The DMR t-shirts are usually $19.99. They're on sale right now for $9.95 plus shipping. The Brandmeister DMR t-shirts are also on sale for $9.95, same price for $9.95 plus shipping. Any order of $50 or more on shop.hamradio2.com ships for free. So those of you guys coming along and ordering $45 worth of stuff, bump it up a little bit, and you will be able to get free shipping. You can always add one of these $4 koozies to your order. If you're right at the cusp, grab a koozie, $4, put you over $50 and save you $8.50 worth of shipping. So it works out well for everybody. Hopefully everybody got my text message tonight. If you go to hamradio2.com/text me, TEXTME, I'm starting to send out text messages. This is not really in the screen very well. There you go. That's better like that. Some people are complaining that YouTube is not sending out notifications when I go live and when Monday Night Ham Radio starts and Thursday Night Ham Radio starts. So I set up a text messaging plan about 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, and you can sign up for that. Go to hamradio2.com/text me, and you can check out and you can sign up for the text messaging list. I try to send out text messages every time we go live, every time we do premieres, that kind of thing. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. And if you sign up for it and you find out I'm texting you too much, you can always reply with stop, and it takes you off the list. So it's no risk to you whatsoever. I'd like to welcome to the chat tonight K6ARK. I see you in the house. Thanks for joining, Adam. I saw Josh, Ham Radio Crash Course earlier. I see Sean, Ham Radio Dude. Thanks for joining tonight. Don N5SKT. Thanks for joining tonight. Several people in the chat tonight, and it's all a good thing. Frank's not with me tonight. I don't know where he is. He said he was a maybe tonight, so I wasn't really expecting him, and I haven't talked to him today. So you guys, next time you see Frank online, be sure and give him a hard time for me. No, it's all good. It's all good because Frank's a good dude. So there we go. Okay, so T.O. just sent me the playlist for tomorrow night. Okay, good. So those of you who have been following my channel for a while, you might have seen the Ham Radio Science Citizen Science Foundation. They have done a forum type presentation weekend for the last 2 or 3 years. They did it live, I think, 2 years ago, and not last year. It was virtual because of COVID, human malware virus, and all that stuff. They're going to do it again this year. This is virtual, March 19th to 20th. They are asking for what they call abstracts. And I think an abstract is just a presentation. If you have a presentation that you think would be beneficial to the Ham Radio Society, or Ham Radio Science Foundation, hamsci.org is their website. Go to here, hamsci.org/hamsci2021. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat right now. All these links will be in the description below on the replay, and you can go check that out later. But these are some really good folks. These folks do a lot with space weather. They do a lot with atmospheric conditions, solar eclipses. A lot of the solar eclipse stuff is done here. HF propagation, HF radio waves, HF moon bounce, meteor scatter, EME, and all that kind of good stuff. They do a lot with the science behind why HF works the way it does. So if you have a interest in space, weather, ham radio science inside of ham radio inside of science, either way, go to hamsci.org and sign up for one of their abstracts, because it is going to be a fun time in March. I will be recording that session again this year and reposting those videos on my YouTube channel as I did last year was the first year I did that. They're kind of, sort of, not really, but kind of an offshoot of the Tapper DCC, the Tucson Amateur Packet Radio Digital Communications Conference that takes place every year. They've been going for about 20 years. They were actually supposed to be back in Tucson this year in 2021 for their 20-year anniversary. Not sure how that's going to work out with the whole lockdown thing. But they were supposed to be in North Carolina last year outside of Charlotte. They did a virtual session for Tapper last year, and I recorded all that, and I've been posting those videos on my channel. Upcoming in, I think it's in August or September of this year, they're going to do it. They're going to do a Tapper DCC conference again. Whether it's virtual or not, I don't know. We'll figure that out at some point in the future. But hamsci.org/hamsci2021. Really great guys who are much smarter than I am and do a lot of great things with citizen science, ham radio science, and space weather and that kind of thing. They're creating a new SDR HF radio that they're calling the Personal Space Weather Station, that will be kind of Raspberry Pi based, but able to do a lot more than what your regular SDR radios type things will do. You can see updates to that on my channel in the past. Just search Personal Space Weather Station. You can see that kind of stuff, and I'm trying to get an update from them on that. And if I don't get it before HamSci in March, about 2 months from now, I will have it during HamSci, so be watching for that as well. Let's see. Silver M1Y. I recently ordered a Midland DBR 2500 and a Yaesu VX6R, which led me to my channel. I watched the technician courses and have studied up. Ready for my test this week. Should be live on the air soon. Dude, congrats. Seriously. That is awesome. Really, really excited to see people get their ham radio license. We're going to talk about that more in just a bit. So thank you for being here tonight. You're going to have to change your YouTube channel to your call sign once you get it so that we know who you are. So, or at least email it to me. You know, that's cool also. So thanks for being here tonight. Seriously, that's great. Winter Field Day is next weekend. A week from yesterday will be Winter Field Day. We are going out to my hunting lease, which is about an hour and a half north of here. We will be operating under our club call sign of KN5TR, Kilo November 5 Tango Romeo. So write that call sign down. If you're going to operate Winter Field Day, write that call sign down. Listen for us. It might be me operating, or it might be one of the other guys operating. I think we're going to be either a 3 or a 4 alpha. I'm not sure which one yet. It's going to depend on who shows up with radios. We're going to have a special guest, and we're going to have a special prototype antenna, and we're going to have a lot of beer. So, I mean, and since it's in the country at my hunting lease, we're also going to have guns. This is Texas. We have guns. We have beer. We have large plots of land that we can set up big antennas on. There's nothing wrong with any of that. Oh, I love ham. I love this ham radio business. As Richard Lenore would say, I love this ham radio business. So let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the chat who's going to operate Winter Field Day this upcoming weekend. This will be our 3rd year at the same location, operating as KN5TR. Really fun time, and great time to set up antennas, great time to get out in the woods. Frank is going to be cooking ribs and or a brisket and or chicken for us. Bob from R Finder is going to be here. He's not my special guest. I'm not going to say who my special guest is, but he's in the chat right now. My special guest is in the chat right now. Let me know if you can guess who it is. We're going to do a really cool video. I got a great video in mind for that. So awesome. How cool is that? So moving on here, in future episodes on this channel, I thought of a new idea a couple of weeks ago, and I've been kind of cultivating that in my mind, which should scare you. Honestly, this should scare you. What I want to do, I kind of took this idea from a YouTuber that is outside of ham radio, not someone in ham radio. I was writing down all these ideas. And then Hayden from Ham Radio DX kind of did something like this tonight. He did the Ask an Elber thing where people were in the chat asking questions, and 450s were on the live stream answering those questions. Very fun time. I want to do a live stream or several live streams, maybe a monthly live stream, probably a monthly live stream. I want to do a live stream where I bring you on as the guest. You, whoever wants to, one person at a time. I want to bring you on to the stream. You can ask your questions. I can do my best to answer your questions, but you will have the full benefit of the live chat as well. So I want to do an audience interactive type thing that's kind of like Ask an Elmer, but a little bit more focused than that. Now, Hayden does a fantastic job. If you guys don't subscribe to Ham Radio DX, Hayden out of Australia, please go subscribe to him right now. He does a great job with IC705 videos. He did some really cool stuff for their summer field day, because January is summer in Australia. I don't know. But he did a summer field day video a week or two ago, and they were operating like 47 gigahertz, some crazy microwave UHF thing like that. It was really fun video to watch. So go check that out. You can see that. It was on Monday Night Ham Radio last week. David Grounds, $4.99 with the super chat. Thank you for being here tonight, sir. Appreciate the support. So, but I want to do some stuff where I bring you guys. I'm going to send you a link, and I haven't hammered out all the details yet. If you have interest in coming onto the stream and asking me questions about anything in ham radio, doesn't matter what it is, I'm not going to promise you I'll be able to answer any questions. Or I'm not going to promise you I'll be able to answer all questions. I'll be able to answer some questions, but not all questions. But if I don't know the answer to your question and we can't get it in the chat, I'll write down your question. I will find it and I will email you later. Because I'm not an expert, but I know enough to put my foot in my mouth. So there's that. I'm pretty good. Kevin, K3KTB. I'm going to be in my ice fishing shelter on the lake for Winterfield Day. Do radios work on the ice fishing and ham radio? Absolutely. Radios will work on the ice because ice is water and water is conductive. And yeah, you can definitely do that. That'd be fun. Other than the fact I absolutely hate the cold, that would be really fun. If I liked the cold, I would probably go up to and do something like that up north. But yeah, not so much. I'm not too much of a cold person. When it's 105 degrees outside in Texas this July, I'll be out there saying, "Hey, what's wrong with you guys? Why aren't y'all out here doing ham radio with me?" Everybody will be in the air conditioner with the fans on. I like the heat. I don't like the cold. That's just me. But yeah, radios will work great on ice because ice is water. Same chemical composition of H2O. Be fun to see what your setup is. Take some pictures. Take some pictures of your setup at Winterfield Day on the ice. Send them to me, kc5hwb@gmail.com. I will put them on my Instagram account because that'll be some fun stuff for sure. So, K8MRD is in the house. What does Jason know about ice? I know I hate driving on it. Because all the ice we ever get in Texas is on the freaking streets. So, yeah, our lakes and our ponds and our tanks do not ice over, but our streets do. So I actually know quite a bit about ice. So there's that. Oh, it's all good. It is all good. All good. All good. So the last thing I'll say before we get started here is that some of you have... hopefully most of you have seen the video I put up for the $35 fee, the new $35 fee that's going to be added to the ham radio license soon. That has not taken effect yet. We're going to be doing we're going to be doing some videos on that upcoming, but the FCC is instigating a $35 fee for amateur radio licenses, which will last 10 years. They're going to take the GMRS fee from $70 for 10 years down to $35 for 10 years. So they're cutting it in half for GMRS, but they're adding $35 to a $0 fee for amateur radio license. So I am thinking about setting up some sort of scholarship fund for people who want to get their first ham radio license. Perhaps people who are under the age of 18 or 21, perhaps Boy Scouts, perhaps ham radio clubs who have youth or high schools or something like that. Maybe some college ham radio clubs or something like that. People who might need help getting their first amateur radio license. I want to set up a scholarship fund to where people like you and I can donate to the fund in it, and the fund grows. And then when a Boy Scout troop or a ham radio club or somebody contacts me, or somebody like Steve at K5ATA, who is a school teacher and teaches amateur radio to his students, he contacts me and he says, "Hey, I've got 8 or 9 students that want to get their ham radio license. 3 of them are good, but 6 of them are kind of strapped, and we would like to get scholarship funds for these 6 students to get their amateur radio license. I want to be able to have a fund to pull money from and give that away to that. So if anyone knows about a website or an application out there that is set up, something like a GoFundMe, and I can use GoFundMe and that would be fine, but something like kind of like more geared towards nonprofit scholarships. I don't know. I've never done anything like that before. Shoot me an email, kc5hwb@gmail.com. Be happy to look at any kind of applications or websites or systems that are out there that are set up for that sort of thing. If I don't find anything that's great, I'll use GoFundMe. I'm not going to let the website deter me from doing this, but I want to do something like this. I want to be able to set up a scholarship fund that will allow that I'm going to put money into myself, but I'm going to ask my audience to put money into. And if you can only put $1 or $5 in, that's fine. You don't have to pay the full $35 for one person. If I got 7 people to pay $5 each, that's license for one person. You know, some people can pay more than others, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So I want to set up something like that to be able to get youth on the air and just get more people licensed who are interested in doing so. People who are a little bit less means or have, problems, limited income, fixed income type people, that kind of thing. So I tell you what, you guys, if you guys did not see my lunchtime live stream I did a couple weeks before Christmas, I talked about a thing called gospelsocks.com, to where I'm a member of a church out here in North Texas, and one of the staff members of the church, his daughter, went to some homeless shelters, and she said, hey, she was in the 8th grade at the time. She's like, hey, what is the most needed item in your homeless shelter? You know, people give food, people give clothing, people give coats. And they said, lots of people don't get socks. I mean, it's something very simple, right? Something very simple that you don't really think of. So people give coats and old clothes and shirts and jackets and pants and even shoes, but socks they are short on. So she started a ministry called gospelsocks.com, gospelsocks.com. And I mentioned it on a live stream a couple weeks before Christmas, and guess what? Those guys, I told you guys in the audience about it. You guys totally killed it. I bought $100 worth of socks myself while on the live stream, but you guys far surpassed that. And about 2, maybe 3 weeks later, my church reached out to me, and they're like, dude, we started getting all these packages that said ham radio call sign this and this, ham radio 2.0. We didn't know who it was from, because I told you guys not to put my name on it, but you did that anyway. So they got $500, or it's either $500 or 500 pairs. I have to double check on that, worth of socks. They got like a garage full of socks from you guys. I contributed a little bit, but you guys came through and totally destroyed that charity. And they were like, what's going on? All these socks started arriving in the mail, all these ham radio call signs on them. It was awesome. So ham radio operators are some of the most generous people that I know. If we can do gospel socks for people, for strangers, for homeless people, and that's a year-round ministry. It's not just Christmas. It's not just during the winter. Gospelsocks.com. Go check it out. You can find, if you go to my Amazon store, which is linked in the YouTube description below, you can find the 3 or 4 pairs, batches of socks I bought through Amazon. You can just buy socks on Amazon, have it shipped to their address at Gospel Socks, and you never have to touch anything. And it's really, really great time, great cause to talk about. But why don't we do something like that for people who want to get their amateur radio license and don't have $35 to spend on a 10-year license? Okay. We were talking about that in a YouTubers Bunch episode that we recorded earlier today. And and people are like, well, yeah, but people can go mow lawns. If they're kids, if they're youth under the age of 18, they can go mow lawns. They can go rake leaves. And that's all true. But I'm like, okay, well, what if we buy them their first 10 years of license, and then they use that leaf raking money and lawn mowing money, and they use it to buy their first radio and get on the air? You know, something like that. So that's kind of where my head is. And You guys are freaking awesome, and I'm really, really excited to see what you guys bring to the table in just a little while. So let me switch over here to, I'm going to go, let me turn that off. I need to switch my screen here. Not that. Oh, there it is. Boom. Okay. So let's go there. Yes. Okay. So tonight's topic is why radio? Why radio? Why should you be considering an amateur radio license? Why should you be considering two-way radio at all? Why should you be thinking about two-way radio at all? What is up with radio in this day and age of the internet and cell phone service and everything else we have available to us today? Why do we need to talk about radio? What does radio have for us? That's wrong. I'm trying to get my screens right here, and obviously I'm not doing a very good job of it. Why do we need to talk about radio in the day and age of the internet, in the day and age of cell phone service, in the day and age of everything that we've got available to us today? So I got my screen switched around, blah, 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 blah. There we go. Okay, so why radio? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on this. You are welcome to disagree. If you have constructive criticism, I would love to hear it. Seriously, I would love to hear your constructive criticism. If all you want to do is whine and moan and complain, I respectfully request you leave this channel and go to QRZ. So, did I say that out loud? Yeah, I did. Okay, so why radio today? In a day and age of cell phone service and internet, why radio? Well, because the police and fire department still carry radios. They, you still use radios at, you go into Walmart and you see them using FRS and Gmrs radios. You go out to the park, Texas State Parks in the air. Texas State Parks, whether they're on the air or not. They have radios. Everybody has a two-way radio in public service today. And why do they have that with cell phone service, with internet, with everything else that we have today? Well, I'm going to give you my perspective on that tonight. And I'm interested to see what you guys think about that, okay? So this right here is a picture of Sterling N0 SSE on our Mount Pacifico soda expedition. We did it in November of 2019. I traveled out to I flew to LA. I spent an evening with Josh. I joined him on his live stream, and then Sterling and Kyle and Matt, AE4MQ, and a couple other guys showed up the next day. We all hiked up the mountain together. We spent the night on the mountain. W6RIP showed up late that night. We did some soda contacts, and it was a fun time. And COVID has that, and we would have done it again at least once, if not 2 or 3 times since then, if COVID wouldn't have put a bunch of flight restrictions on everything. But this is Sterling standing on the edge of a mountain right there, and I've got a close-up shot of him, but he's it's very grainy and kind of not, resolution's not good. So why is he standing out there? You know what he's looking at right now? He's looking at his phone. He's looking at his phone. And he's standing out there on the edge of the mountain looking at his phone because he couldn't get a cell signal on top of the mountain. Or it was spotty. He either couldn't get a signal or it was really spotty. So he went out there to the side of the mountain, out from underneath the trees, out from underneath all the antennas we had hung up. And he's been out there, and he's out there standing there looking at his phone, trying to make a phone call. I think he was trying to call his wife. I don't remember who he was trying to call, but it was fun. I was like, oh, I got to have a picture of this. I wish I would have had my drone. I would have flown it around to the front of him and taken a picture of him. But that's Sterling N0 SSE standing out there on the side of a mountain, trying to get a cell signal on top of a mountain that, if I remember correctly, is about 8,000 feet above sea level, roughly. Mount Pacifico outside of LA is roughly about 8,000 feet above sea level. So 8,000 feet above sea level, and he's not got a cell signal. Why? Why? This is 2019. This is only a year and a half ago. Why doesn't he have a cell signal on top of a mountain outside of Los Angeles, one of the biggest cities, biggest metropolitan cities in the nation? He doesn't have a cell signal. Okay. So, well, the simplest reason is because cell coverage isn't everywhere. These require a network of repeaters and towers to work. I cannot make a phone call from my phone to your phone without going through a cell tower. How many times have you guys driven down the road and been talking on your phone, hopefully with your hands-free device in your car, and the cell signal dropped? You try to make a phone call. You get outside of the Metroplex. You try to make a phone call. Who here is an avid hunter like I am? Or an avid outdoorsman? Or you go hiking. You go on soda expeditions. You go outside in the woods. You go camping. How often do you lose cell signal? Why? Why do you lose cell signal? Because you get outside of the range of the cell phone towers, okay? My wife and I had the incredible experience to visit the World Trade Center 2 or 3 years ago, and this was obviously several years after 9/11. We went to the World Trade Center, the 9/11 Memorial, World Trade Center. This is a picture that I took from inside of the museum. This was a radio antenna that was on top of the World Trade Center before it was destroyed. Okay. This is a picture of the antenna that's in the museum now, today, after the World Trade Center was destroyed. This thing is probably 10 to 12 feet in diameter. This is another picture of it here. This is a side shot of it. This is an in shot of it. You can see the person standing in the background back there. It's a little bit blurred perspective because he's kind of far away. But this is part of an antenna that was on top of the World Trade Center before the buildings were destroyed by planes in 2001. And this is what I would call a big ass antenna. Quite frankly, this is a huge antenna for cell networks, for radio communications, for whatever. And it was on top of the tallest building in New York, in Manhattan, and it was destroyed. And after it was destroyed in the 9/11 attacks, not only was that specific cell phone radio tower taken out, but what happens when a devastating event like that happens? What happens after Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Ike? Okay, what happens after that? Everybody on the network, everybody with a cell phone, both in the area and with family in the area, they all get on the phone, they try to call one another. Everybody in New York picked up their phones, they tried to call their families outside of New York. Everybody in the rest of the nation and the rest of the world, they picked up their cell phones and they tried to call their family inside of New York to see, hey, are you okay? What's going on? I heard about this thing on the news. What is that about? This is an awesome, awesome, awesome sight to see. If you guys have never been back to the 9/11 Memorial outside of Manhattan, where the World Trade Center used to be, it is fantastic. I highly recommend going there. It's a great, great historical marker. Sad that it happened, but it's good to remember it. My wife and I have also been to the Pearl Harbor Memorial in Honolulu. That is fantastic as well. So this was a great sight to be. But the cell networks, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, these guys are not built so that all of their providers can pick up their smartphones and dial a phone number at the exact same time and talk to one another. There's not enough capacity to do that. So in 9/11, not only was the cell tower destroyed, which knocked out part of the network in New York City, but then everybody started to dial their phone at the same time. And the networks are not built for everybody, for all subscribers to dial their phones at the exact same time. Okay, it saturates the network. You already get dropped calls on a regular day driving down the highway. If everybody on the cell network on AT&T tries to make a phone call at the same time, how do you think that's going to affect the network? You know, maybe one day we'll get there. Maybe one day we'll get to where, Skylink's coming. Okay, I'm Curious to see how that's going to work. It's going to be fun to try. It's going to be fun to test. But today, as of today, it's not really meant for everyone on the network to pick up their smartphones and dial a phone call all at the exact millions of subscribers to dial a phone call all at the exact same time, especially when there's been such a large tower like this destroyed. So the great thing about a radio, this is a GMRS radio right here, made by Baofeng. Okay, I've got a video on this posted on my channel already, but I got a couple more videos that I'm going to be posting about this. We're going to talk some about GMRS tonight as well. So the great thing about this radio is that it can talk to this radio without any cell tower, any repeater, any kind of infrastructure in between the two. They can do what's called simplex. In the world of radio, this is called simplex. Radio to radio is called simplex. You can go through a repeater. You can go through a hotspot, an internet-connected repeater. You can go through Echolink. You can go through All-Star. You can go through DMR, D-Star, Yaesu System Fusion. You can go through a lot of different internet-connected type networks that work with radio, but you can also go simplex. So you can also go radio to radio with absolutely no infrastructure in between the radios. The only thing this needs to make a contact with another radio is atmosphere. The air we all breathe. If the air we all breathe was taken away tomorrow, we wouldn't be too worried about the radios because we would probably all be dead from suffocation. So just kind of putting that out there. So the only thing a radio needs to talk to another radio is atmosphere, is stratosphere, is basically air. And you don't even need air because the spatial and the ISS, which is in space, can talk back to the Earth. You really only need line of sight. So they don't require a cell phone network. They don't require a infrastructure that's based on electrical power, on grid power, even on battery power. You can talk around the planet on radio where you can't, it's easier on HF to talk around the world, to talk longer distances on HF. VHF and UHF will do it. It's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit harder, but you can talk around the world. I can talk from my home here in Grapevine, Texas, to a station in Australia and New Zealand on an HF radio with an antenna that's in my backyard about 30 feet off the ground. And I need no cell phone infrastructure. I need no internet connection to do that. All I need is a power supply and a radio with an antenna to talk from one radio to the next. So the great thing about radio is it doesn't rely on cell networks, and it doesn't rely on the infrastructure that this relies on. This is a great tool. I'm not telling you to get rid of your smartphone. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in a grid down situation, this thing's going to be down. In a grid down situation, a radio might be a better option for you. So that's really all I'm saying. I'm trying to watch the chat here, but I'm not doing a very good job of it. So Mike Chittenden says a lot of amateur repeaters are hardened with battery backup for hours. Yes, very true. But even without that, you've got Simplex available to you. So thank you for all the comments in the chat tonight. So GMRS is probably the easiest type of radio system to get right now, which is, I didn't include a slide on FRS. FRS are the cheap little Motorola and Midland type radios that you can buy at Walmart. You can buy at Bass Pro Shops. You can get it buytwowayradios.com. I highly suggest everyone go out to buytwowayradios.com right now and peruse around their list of radios. The great thing about buytwowayradios.com, they are a show sponsor. Just up front, I'll let you know. They have sponsored my show for about a year and a half. Great people, excellent customer service. The great thing about buytwowayradios.com is that they are a two-way radio vendor, not just ham radio. They sell marine radios, FRS radios, GMRS radios, CB radios. They sell all kinds of two-way radio. That's why it's called buytwowayradios.com. It's not called buyhamradio.com. It's called buytwoWayRadio.com. So you can get radios from all kinds of bands out there: FRS, MERS, GMRS, CB, Marine Shop, commercial radios, ham radios, lots of different stuff. Antennas for everything, power supplies. Lots of good stuff out there. But the good thing about FRS is it's a family radio service, and it's a license-free spectrum around the 462 megahertz spectrum. These are the radios that you buy at Walmart that you just buy out of a package. You can usually get 2 of them together, and you can go out to the camping site and you can talk to your kids on. That's basically what they're good for. The highest powered FRS radios are usually around 2 watts. The lowest powered, maybe a half a watt, 3/4 of a watt, something like that. I've got 2 or 3 videos that I've already recorded about different FRS and GMRS radios that I'm going to be upcoming posted on this channel really quick. The GMRS service, which is the General Mobile Radio Service, is the upgrade to FRS. They use a lot of the same frequencies. They share frequencies, but they also have expanded frequencies on top of FRS that GMRS has expanded frequencies that FRS users don't have access to. In addition to that, GMRS, you can get a radio, an HT. This is a GMRS radio right here. That's a 5-watt radio. Legally speaking, you can't get an FRS radio that does more than 2 watts. This also, FRS requires that you use a fixed antenna on your radio. So you can't have a removable antenna. You can't put an external antenna. You can't put a high gain antenna on your radio. GMRS, you can do that. You can get up to a 50-watt mobile GMRS radio. You can use amplifiers up to 50 watts. You can use repeaters up to 50 watts. I think the repeaters might be a little bit more than that, actually, but you can use repeaters on GMRS where you cannot use repeaters on FRS. So GMRS expands the capability. It's still only about the 462 to 467 frequency range, so it's just one band only. But all you do is get on the FCC website, fill out the form of information, and pay $70 for a 10-year license. Now, that is about to change. At the same time they change the ham radio license to $35 for 10 years, they're going to drop the fee on GMRS from $70 to $35 for 10 years. So you'll be able to pay $35 for 10 years for both a ham and a GMRS license. The difference is that a GMRS license, all you do is fill out a form, pay your money, and you've got your call sign. Ham radio license, you'll still be able to still have to take a test, pass a 35-question test, and get a call sign that way. And then you get a plethora of bands and frequencies and modes and types of radios that you can operate on. GMRS is one band around the 462 range. Ham radio is 20 to 30 different bands. The technician license in ham radio gets you 50 megahertz and above, which is basically 6 meters, 2 meters, 220, 440, 900 megahertz, 1.2 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz, and everything else above that. Goes up to like 275 gigahertz. Most of the stuff up there is data, not voice. It's hard to find radios for that stuff, but it's an option to you in ham radio that you don't have GMRS radio. GMRS, you only have one band around the UHF 462 megahertz range, which is great for the types of communications we're talking about. There's been a lot of interest in GMRS coming up since the happenings of the last 2 months. How's that? I'll put it that way. Since the happenings of the last 2 months, define it however you want, whatever side you're on. Since all of the crap that has happened since basically November, well, actually before that, but there's been a lot of people talk about off-grid communications and GMRS ham radio. Ever since COVID hit the United States back in April of last year, April of 2020, there has been a huge increase in the number of people getting ham radio license for 2 reasons, in my opinion. Number one, people were scared. People were just like, I want some alternative forms of communication. Great. The second reason is everyone was stuck at home and they had more time to study for the ham license that they'd been putting off for months or years. Okay, so you had this huge increase and huge surge in people trying to get their ham, and people successfully getting their ham radio license since April of last year, for the last 7 or 8 or 9 months. If you are studying for your ham radio license and you want to go take a test, go to hamstudy.org/sessions. I have several videos about this this process on my channel. Go look at that. Look that up. You can find lots of good information about different things about how to get your ham radio license, how to test remotely, how to test in person. If they're testing in person in your area, you can still do that in some areas, but you can test remotely over the internet, and it doesn't matter where you are. If you want a USA call sign, you can test remotely as long as you meet all their requirements for remote testing and Zoom sessions and webcams and all that stuff. You can get your ham radio license. And it has increased the fold of people getting licensed since April of last year. It's been a great thing for the amateur radio community, in my opinion. My opinion, it's a great thing. So you've got that option to you. So some people will say, well, should I get my GMRS license or should I get my ham radio license? And my answer to that is yes. Yes, you should. You should get your GMRS license and you should get your ham radio license. You want to get your GMRS license first? That's okay. That's okay. Just fill the form out, pay your money. If you want to wait till they change it from $70 to $35, fine. Go watch some videos. There's a lot of great videos out there on other YouTube channels besides just mine about GMRS licensing, about ham radio licensing. So go watch YouTube and find a lot of different things about licensing. But go fill out the form, get your GMRS license, get on the air, figure out what it's about, see how you like it. And then if you want to expand your horizons beyond UHF, the 462 megahertz range, study up and go get your ham radio license. There's training sessions on this channel. I did a live stream with the Hearst Amateur Radio Club back in May of last year. We did a 3-day live stream. Each day is like 4 to 6 hours. And of course, the great thing about YouTube is you can pause the video. You can start watching the video. You can pause it where you want to. You can go back and rewatch it as many times as you want to. And I've had lots and lots and lots of comments on that video about people said, hey, this was great information. Thank you. I just got my call sign. I just passed my test. So it's all good stuff. So I have my GMRS license. And I think the next slide. Yeah, there's my GMRS license right there. WRFK311. I haven't used it in like 6 months, so I don't remember what it was. But you're going to see, I'm going to start doing more. I've got 2 or 3 episodes that I've recorded and haven't posted yet about GMRS HTs. I've got an episode about a mobile radio that can be used for a base station or in your car for a GMRS mobile radio. We've got 4, 5, 6 different GMRS repeaters in this area in the North Texas between Dallas and Denton. Ed Fong, if you got those of you who are familiar with the Ed Fong J-pole antennas, Ed Fong makes a UHF antenna that is tuned for the GMRS band. It'll go from 460 to 470 megahertz. I've got a few of those on order. I'm going to be putting them on my store at shop.hamradio2.com as soon as they come in. So you've got lots of options for GMRS. It is an off-grid, if you will, off-grid type of communication because it doesn't require... You can use repeaters, which sometimes repeaters are on-grid and sometimes repeaters are off-grid. So you can use repeaters, but you don't have to use repeaters because you can use them simplex, like I was saying a minute ago, with simplex operation, radio to radio, with no infrastructure, no towers, no repeaters, anything that's required for you to talk radio to radio. So that is one thing about GMRS and ham radio both that are good, is that you can do all of that without infrastructure need, without cell towers, without internet. You know, a lot of people come along and they say, well, the internet's destroying ham radio because you're required to use the internet on DMR. I realized that was showing, but that's my Discord channel. Go to hamradio2.com/Discord. You can join our Discord channel. You're required to use internet on DMR. That is untrue. You are not required to use internet on DMR. You're not required to use internet on D-Star or Fusion or P25. You can use Simplex on all these modes. And you can use radio to radio without any internet or any repeater in between the two. And actually, the range on some of these digital modes is much farther than analog anyway. And we're going to do some testing on that upcoming. Frank finally got his mobile radio put in his car. So I'm going to set up the base station here on DMR, and he's going to go out in the field on DMR. We're going to do a range testing on DMR Simplex. No repeaters, nothing. 40 to 45 watt mobile radio here in the shack in his car. We're going to do some range testing on that. So that is a good thing to have because it is simplex and it does not require the use of an infrastructure outside of just the airwaves. So let's see. I'm going to switch back over here and get this going there. So Charlie says he finally found his Gmrs call sign. I'd like to know what that is. WRFK311. I've actually got a couple of videos recorded I haven't posted yet that talks about, hey, what is my Gmrs call sign? Let's use that real quick. So, one last thing I want to say. Mike says DMR repeaters have a local setting for repeating in the area. Also, simplex work. Yes. So local. They have a local talk group. That is correct. Most of them do. But I'm talking more about simplex, about the need for, about the lack of a need for a repeater at all. You don't need a repeater. You don't need the internet. You can use DMR, D-Star Fusion, radio to radio with nothing in between the two, and it works great. In fact, the range on those digital modes is oftentimes longer than an analog radio. So I want to say one more thing, and I'm going to kind of maybe read some questions from the chat. Oh, people are putting their Gmrs call signs in the chat. WQZF528 is Charlie. Thanks for being out there, Charlie. Let's see. T-Man, WRFN419. That's good. Tim, WREN440. That's a cool one. 440? That's a cool one. Sam says, I just bought a Baofeng UV5R and a Rainick CR1009 with shortwave. Is this enough radio to squeak by? And I'm not familiar with the Rainick CR1009. I'm not familiar what that is, but possibly. So that brings me to my last thing. One thing I do want to say is, let me get over here real quick. If you're talking about off-grid communications, what you need to realize is that not everything needs to be a two-way radio. Some things can be a one-way radio. Some things can be like a listening radio, a monitoring radio. So this right here, if we go over here to buy two-way radios, this Midland XT511 base camp two-way, this is actually a two-way radio right here because it's got an antenna on it. But some of these things can just be like a receiving radio. This is a emergency hand crank radio with flashlight. So if you're out in the field and the grid has gone down, and the likelihood of this happening is not high, but if you want to be prepared, this is how you be prepared, in my opinion. You're going to want to listen more than you're going to want to talk. Talking is good. Having a transmitter is good. It's a good idea to have a transmitter. But to be able to hear transmissions from other stations, from broadcast radio stations, from other people in the field like you, is probably more important to know what the heck is going on in most instances. So you might want to look into like getting some sort of like weather station or emergency hand crank radio like this one right here that would monitor NOAA weather and monitor some of the broadband frequencies. Another thing you can do, now this requires a cell phone network, so bear with me here for a second. Go on your Android or iPhone and download an app called Radio Scanner, or Scanner Radio. And Scanner Radio in my area has the Tarrant County, the Dallas County, and the Denton County Skywarn repeaters piped in through the internet. So I don't even need a radio to listen to the Skywarn repeaters on the ham radio Skywarn repeaters in my area, I can download Scanner Radio. I can tune in to Denton County, which is just north of me, Dallas County, which is just east of me, and Tarrant County, which is where I live, to all of the ham radio repeaters that are in those areas that Skywarn, that the National Weather Service gets on, and Skywarn watchers from ham radio, they get out in these storms and they drive around in the area and they do storm watching and they weather reporting for winds and hail and rain and floods and everything else. They do all this stuff, and then they report back to the National Weather Service on the ham radio repeater in that area, and Scanner Radio picks up lots of... Now, I'm not... They may or may not have something in your area. What I'm telling you is go download the app, search for your area, and see what you can find. If you're in North Texas, they have pretty much everything in North Texas. They have the Denton County, the 146.92 repeater. They have the Dallas County, Aries, I think it's Aries repeater, 146.88 repeater. And they have the Tarrant County Races repeater, which is 146.940 repeater. So they have all those. You can listen, and you can find out what's going on. You can't transmit. It's just a scanner. But you can listen, find out what's going on, and make plans accordingly. So listening to no weather, emergency radio might be good enough. You might need, and you don't need a license to listen. You can find scanners to listen. You can find weather radios to listen. You can find apps on your phone to listen. And yeah, relying on an app on your phone is probably not the best thing, because if your internet goes down, your power goes down, you know, the cell tower goes down like we were talking about earlier. Okay. But it is an option for you to have that to listen to. And then if the cell network dies, you can pick this up and turn on the radio and not have to be running the battery on this down the entire night. So multiple options for you are possible to monitor and listen to where you are. So that is one thing that I would recommend, is find and I've got some of these in my Amazon store. If you go here and you go down to, I think it's right here. Yeah, these two right here. This is a Eton Elite Executive AM/FM Aircraft Band SSB. SSB is single sideband. That's what most of your ham radio operators talk on the HF bands. So you're going to be able to monitor ham radio and shortwave traffic with that. You've got aircraft bands. You'll be able to monitor the airplanes if you live close to an airport. AM and FM shortwave radio. Some of these will do NOAA weather. Some of them will do marine radio. So it really kind of depends on what you're doing. But if you have the opportunity, I would say go here and check out the things on Amazon. Share that link in the chat real quick to see what else is out there that might work for your monitoring capabilities. So you will get weather info faster than monitoring the broadcasting stations. You will need a charger system for each of your batteries. Yeah. We're not really talking about charging systems tonight, but yes. Yeah. I'm actually recording a video on best radio for SHTF. I get the acronym wrong. SHTF. Here's the bottom line. For grid down emergency situations, you're going to want a radio that's chargeable from a solar panel and or a battery pack and or a USB. Something that's chargeable from something besides a 110 power outlet. There you go. So that's good. One last thing I will say, and then I'll try to read the chat for some kind of questions that were coming in. And I'm going to take a drink tonight. I didn't say this up front. Tonight I'm drinking a Black Noir from Turning Point Brewing in Bedford, Texas. It is ice cream imperial stout with pistachio. So if I'm slurring tonight, that's why. Because I've drank too much ice cream. That is good. One last thing I'll say. And hear me out on this, okay? Anime. Fecal matter hits the ceiling oscillator. That is great. I'm gonna make a t-shirt with that. One last thing I'll say, okay? So some people have come along and asked me about a Baofeng. The correct pronunciation of a Baofeng is Baofeng. Now, you're not going to get better Chinese than that out of me. Texas boy don't do that, okay? But it's a Baofeng radio, or as Richard Lenore from Main Trading Company says, a Baofeng. Some people have come along and asked me about the UV5R and whether you can use it on FRS and GMRS frequencies. The answer is no. It is not Part 95 type accepted for those frequencies. Now, the FCC describes an emergency. In an emergency, and you'll learn this in your technician training, if you're studying for your technician test for ham radio. An emergency is defined as an immediate threat to your life, your family, or your property. So an immediate threat to your person. So if someone breaks into your home with a weapon, that's an immediate threat. You're standing in line at the bank and some guy comes in with a gun and tries to rob the bank. That's an immediate threat. COVID is not an immediate threat to your family, okay? People have contracted COVID and lived through it to tell the tale, okay? It's not an immediate... Is it a threat? Yes, it is a threat. COVID's a serious matter. If I had my wish, I would wish that COVID died of a painful and miserable death tomorrow and be gone from the world. But I don't have that power, okay? So COVID is an immediate... COVID is a threat. It's not an immediate threat. So people that think, oh, well, the world's played with COVID, I can operate wherever I want to. No, you cannot. Not legally speaking. Now, I'm not telling you what to do, okay? I am not telling you that you should go out and buy a radio and transmit where you want to because you fear getting COVID. I'm not telling you shouldn't do that. What I'm telling you is what the law says. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. I can't give you legal advice, but I can read. Like I hope you can. All you people in the chat can read. Obviously, you're typing in the chat right now. Okay. So an immediate threat to your family, your person, or your property is defined as an immediate threat. And that's when you can use any means of transmission necessary to call for help. But in a real world situation, which God forbid that ever happens to anybody that I know, I don't want that to happen to you. I don't care if you disagree with me or not. I still don't want you to be, I don't want your life or your family's life to be threatened. I don't want that. Okay. So leaving that aside for the moment, it is not legal to use a radio that is not Part 95 certified on GMRS or FRS. Okay. So I'm not going to come to your house and knock on your door and say you shouldn't be using that radio. I'm just telling you what the law says. Now, having said that, two things. Number one, the UV5R is not the cheapest radio you can get. Go to bio2aradios.com. Go look at their Midland X-Talker series. You can get a pair of legal FRS radios for $30. 2 radios for $30. And the Baofeng on Amazon's like $25 normally. You know, they've jacked the price up on those recently because supply and demand has done this. And now those radios are about $40 on Amazon, or at least they were a couple days ago when I looked at them. But you can get a pair of FRS radios, 2 radios with a charger for $30. Okay. So if you just want to be cheap about everything, go do that. It's a legal radio to use on FRS. You spend a little bit more than that, get a GMRS radio, get a pair of GMRS radios. You spend a little bit more than that and get this radio, which these are about $80 a pop. Okay, so it's a little bit more than that. But let me ask you a question, seriously here. In a grid down situation where you, and I hope this never happens to anybody who's listening to the sound of my voice right now, whether you're listening to me live or whether you're listening to me on the replay, a week from now, 6 months from now, whatever. I hope this never happens to you. If you are ever in the situation where your life is dependent on this, do you actually want the cheapest freaking radio you can buy to entrust the life of yourself and your family into? Okay, that's a serious question. Do you actually, people that argue for the UV5R, I see this argument all the time from various people. They're like, well, but it's so much cheaper. I'm like, so you want to tell me that the cheapest possible way, which is not the cheapest, I just told you the Midland X-Talker series for a pair is cheaper. The cheapest possible way to get on the air, in your mind, is what you want to choose to protect your family? Really? I tell you what, I'm not going out there and buying the cheapest freaking handgun that I can find that has the barrel falling out and rust on one side of it so that I can concealed carry down the road in the middle of the day so that I can protect myself if I get into a situation that I hope I never get into. Okay? Do you actually want to buy the cheapest ass radio you can find in case you ever get into the situation where this is your last line of communication? You know, don't answer me. I don't want you to tell. I don't want you answering me. Don't put your answer in the chat. Don't send me an email. Answer yourself. Be honest with yourself. Answer that question for yourself. Okay? If the answer is yes, then hey, more power to you, buddy. You know, that's your choice. But for me, I don't want the cheapest frickin' radio I can get on Amazon or eBay. I want something that's reliable, that might not even be Chinese. Maybe I want a Motorola radio, which I've got a few of those. Maybe I want a Japanese radio like a Kenwood or a Yaesu. Maybe I want something that's professional grade like a Hytera or a Harris or a Tate radio. And, you know, I want to keep batteries charged on it. Maybe I want something that's USB chargeable. Maybe I want something that takes AA batteries so that I don't have to worry about a proprietary battery dying on me and not being able to get one in time. I just want to go down to Lowe's and buy new batteries for it in the AA battery section at Lowe's at Lowe's Hardware. Maybe I want to do that. But if oh my gosh, every time I turn the dadgum camera on, my nose starts itching. So if I want to get the cheapest freaking radio that I can get, then, more power to you, seriously. But I choose not to do that. I choose to get something that's more reliable. I choose to get something that's more compatible with different battery systems, different charging systems. And, I don't understand this argument that some people make about, well, UV5R is the cheapest. It's much cheaper than a Kenwood D74, which is $500. Yes, it is. It's cheaper in every sense of the word. So what is your life worth? What is your family's life worth? Well, I mean, in reality, is the situation going to arise ever in your life where you actually have to rely on this for your safety? Probably not. I hope not. If you're in the United States, I certainly hope not. I certainly hope that you never have to rely on this for your personal safety. But if you do you want a $25 rig protecting you, or do you want a $200 rig protecting you? That's your choice. I don't want you to answer. Again, I don't want you to... Don't put your answer in the chat. I don't want to know. I want you to be honest with yourself. Answer the question for yourself, for you. So, that is that. I have talked to what I feel like is myself for the last hour, and I would like to get some comments from the chat. T-Man, I also made a GMRS zone in my Anytone 878. Now, while the Anytone 878 is Part 90 certified, it is not Part 95 certified. So technically speaking, you shouldn't be using it on GMRS. Now, can you listen? Absolutely. In an emergency, can you transmit? Absolutely. So I'm not telling you not to put that in there. I've got GMRS channels in my Anytone radios. I don't use my Anytone radios to transmit in GMRS, but I've got those in there in case something were to ever happen. I wish that Part 90 would cover Part 95, but it doesn't. Legally speaking, it doesn't. So kind of dumb. I don't know. So put your questions in the chat, guys. Thanks for being here, T-Man, KI5BEZ. Thanks for being here, Red Summit RF. Mike, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being out there, buddy. He says, that's why I carry a Motorola. I tell you what, if you just got more money than good sense, go out and get yourself an Apex 7000, 8000 HT that carries VHF, UHF, and an 800 megahertz band that'll only cost you about $2,500. You know, but it is bulletproof. You'll have that radio for the rest of your life. You'll have to put it in your will to your kids. It is so great. So great radio. Way overpriced because they're priced in the commercial market. Troy Smith just got a $350 rig, Yaesu FT3D. My Baofengs aren't adequate. Yes. The Yaesu FT3D is a fantastic radio. Got one myself, really like it. Disappointed Kenwood has discontinued their D74. But the FT3D is got a much better battery life. That's where I was going. That's where I was trying to go. Much better battery life than the Kenwood D74. So, pocket change. John Carver says, pocket change. James F. Pop, thanks for being here, buddy. Get an APX Next XE for $10K. Yeah, let me go out and get two of the. I'm going to set up a GoFundMe so I can get my own Apex radio. How's that? How you guys like to donate to that? Would you like to donate $35 to get a youth ham radio license, or just give me $10,000 to get an Apex radio? Oh boy. Craig says, I have the FT1, FT2, FT3, FT70. Enjoy them all. I have the FT1 and FT3. I had an FT70 for a while. I didn't really like it, so I sold it. I never owned an FT2. The monochrome screen, I was like, eh. A friend of mine in a local club had one, and he bought it when it was first out, and I think he paid like $600 freaking dollars for it. I'm like, no thanks. But that's me. That's me. It's good radio. Good radio. Nothing wrong with it. Just, ugh. Noel says, I thought Jason was seizing. You should know me better than that by now. Russell, my favorite emergency tools, top of the line, 1911, and a Yaesu FT50. FT50? Or FT60? My dad carries a 1911, and I'm not that old yet. I carry a Glock 17, but that's me. Let's see. Bill Brady. Bill's a patron of the channel. Thanks for being here tonight, Bill. All D-Star radios are on hold until they can produce the chips again. Yeah, I heard that. Really sucks. I was looking forward to that ID52. Joshua, I went with the THD74. Almost got an FT3DR, but the extra band was the selling point. I've had no issues with the 74. I haven't really had any battery issues. KJ7OEP. Agreed. The 220 band being the D74 is what sold it for me as well. I didn't really care about D-Star at the time. Love the 220 band. If you turn on the D74 and turn on FT3D and sit them on the desk next to each other and just let them monitor, the D74 will die first. And the FT3D is a little bit better for going on like soda expeditions. But both of those radios work great on APRS. The D74 obviously has 220. And it's really cool to have Bluetooth in the D74. I've got both those radios, love them both. Not going to get rid of them, especially now that the D74 has been discontinued. So, Aaron, going through the technician class you have on your channel, having trouble finding Gordon West book. Where's a reputable place to get it? Dude, I get mine from Amazon. Go to Google. I don't know what their website is. Google W5YI, Whiskey 5, Yankee, India. They are down here in Arlington, Texas, about 20 minutes that way. And you can buy direct from them, but they sell on Amazon. If you don't want to buy on Amazon, some people are pissed at Amazon. Okay. BarnesandNobles.com, maybe, W5YI. You can go get that ARRL book from the ARRL website. It's not the same book as in the technician course that we have on this channel, but they're the same question pool. So you can probably follow along pretty closely. But W5YI or Amazon is my my recommendation. Let's see. Don says, I love my 1911. Yeah. Don, you're probably my dad's age. That's not a dig or anything, but you know. So, I like these guys that get on Facebook and they put a picture of a 1911 up there and it's like a Glock, but for men. And I always reply, I said, do you mean old men? You know, you're talking about a gun that's literally 110 years old in its design. So nothing wrong with a 1911. If you want to shoot a 1911, more power to you, buddy. It's not going to compete with my Glock, though. Come on, give me a break. Try Amazon. David Lawrence says try Amazon for Gordon's books. Chasing Full Draw. That's still a cool name, I think. My EDC is a Yaesu FT3DR. It's always with me. I do have a UV5R in my go bag for backup. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Yes, agreed. I've got a UV82 for my bag. In fact, I've got 2 of them in my RV trailer at the deer lease. Those are my backup radios. I never liked the UV5R, just never got one. The UV82 is just a little bit more money. It hears a little bit better, is a little bit more durable. And I just kind of like it better. I just kind of like the form factor better myself. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, the FT3D is a great radio. You know, I make a lot of jokes about Yaesu because it's my channel and I say whatever the hell I want to. But in reality, okay, and hopefully Chuck is in the chat tonight. He's listening to me say this. Yaesu basically owns the HT game in ham radio right now. Kenwood, ICOM, Elenco, all the Chinese guys, they cannot compete with Yaesu. Yaesu has the HT game wrapped up in a bow, and they have the best HTs out there right now of anybody. So, like, hate or love Yaesu, they have the best HTs out there right now. So that's just my opinion, but it's based on fact. They've got a wide range of HTs. They've got a durable HTs. They've got less expensive HTs. They've got just an all-around good supply of HTs, and they're reliable, durable, wide range of prices, and they really kind of own the HT game right now, in my opinion. So, KE5BZ, everyone hit that thumbs up button. Yeah, hey guys, hit that thumbs up button if you like this. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Marvin, my EDC is a Yaesu VX6R and have a Oshang UV9D. Yes, I have a UV6R, or a VX6R, I should say. Right there. Look at that. Tri-band. Anything with 220 is on my list. The UV9D Mate, the one that Josh mentioned on his live stream last night, which I actually did a video for. I've actually done 2 videos for in the last couple of months. Really great radio. Loving that radio. That's my EDC right now. My two HTs that are my everyday carry right now is the UV9D Mate for dual band analog, and the Anytone 878 Plus for dual band DMR and analog. Those are the 2 radios that I have with me in my backpack at all times. Let's see. Ham radio Journey. K4YZI. K4YZI. That call sign is familiar. All my radios are Yaesu. Well, I'm sorry about that. I apologize that you have not expanded your horizons. I'm teasing a little bit, kind of, sort of. I've never been a big Yaesu fan, but K4YZI, I've just subscribed to you, buddy. But Yaesu seriously has the HT game wrapped up in a bow right now. Fantastic handheld radios. Let's see. James F. Pop, FT60 is still in stock. Yeah, that one's bulletproof. Agoraphobic Adam, Yaesu HT taking notes, obviously better than my Baofeng. Yes, you're quite frankly, if you can, if you don't want to spend a little bit more money, get a Yaesu FT65 or a FT4XR. They're about the same price as each other, and they're just a little bit. Well, I say they're a little bit more. The UV5R on Amazon right now is about $40, and the FT65 is around $70. And you're going to get a much better radio, better receiver, better audio quality, better everything than a Baofeng on the FT65 and FT4XR. Much better radio. FT60 is still good. It's an older radio that has been around a long time, and it's about $150, $160, and it's tried and true. It's got an old nickel metal hydride battery, so the batteries are not as good as the modern batteries or some of the newer radios, but it's still a great radio. The only thing I didn't like about the Yaesu FT60 and 65 both radios is that they're dual band, but they're only one band at a time, so you can only monitor 2 meters or 440 at the time without putting it into scan mode. On the O-Chain radios, you can monitor 2 bands at the same time, 440 and 2 meters. To each his own. The Yaesu is still a better radio, but it's really kind of depends on what you want to do with it. Okay, Dawn. No, see YZI. That's who I thought it was, YZI, but no, he's like KI4 YZI or something like that. Dawn says, "Where'd you go? When are you gonna get your Flex on 220?" That's a good question. I've got that transverter sitting right there. I just got to build it. Noel says, "I wish more manufacturers made affordable 220 radios." I do too. Chasing Full Draws. Great show topic tonight. Love the comments, the happenings of the last 2 months. 556 in the super chat. Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate you being here tonight. Yeah, red nickel metal hydride. That Yaesu FT60 is an old radio, but they still make it and they still sell it because everybody buys it. It's a great radio. It really is. It's a fantastic model. But there's newer models out that are almost as good. Of course, the FT3DR is a better radio, but it's also more than twice the price. So, to each his own. WH4 CKR. I just saw you in the chat, dude. that's conniving. That's tricky. Oh boy. Yeah. So, Sassy TBC, what a wonderful way to welcome new hams. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here tonight. Frank, I see you in the chat. Where the heck are you, buddy? I know you said you might not be able to make it tonight. So, yep, there's that. Frank, if you want to join the Zoom, I'll bring you in here, buddy, if you're at home. Noel, if you want to join the Zoom, you're welcome to join also. You guys have the link. Let's see. RV Dad, how important would you say is having digital capability in an HT? You know what? It's probably not that important. You know what? One thing I kind of left out of my presentation that I wrote down, but I didn't add to it. 90% of the time, maybe 80 to 90% of the time, if you're talking about MCOM in an HT, in a handheld radio, you're going to want to be on the 2 meter, the 144 to 148 megahertz band in analog FM. Okay, your 146.52 is the national calling frequency. There's several other frequencies for emergency communications and whatnot. The 2 meter band from 144 to 148 is the most popular and most used band in amateur radio today because that's where all the technicians hang out. Everybody who gets their new license hangs out there. And then, of course, when you're a general and extra, you're still on there. You still have privileges there. So I would say if you the videos I have made about best HTs, best handheld radios for 2020, best tri-band radio for 2020, I generally tell people start out with a dual band or maybe a tri-band analog radio, unless you got your amateur radio license specifically to talk on D-Star or DMR or something. Then yeah, get a DMR radio. Absolutely. I love DMR. I love talking on DMR. But in reality, if you're talking about MCOM, which is what we're talking about tonight, analog's probably all you really need. Most of your MCOM traffic is going to be on analog, and most of it's going to be on 2 meters. All of your, when I talked about Scanner Radio, the app on your phone earlier, those are, and those Skywarn repeaters in Denton County and Dallas County and Tarrant County, those are all 2 meter repeaters on the 145 to 146 megahertz range. Okay, so really that's really kind of all you want. Okay, let me move this over here and hide self view. Give me a second here, Frank. Full screen. Boom. That. Nope. Yes. Yes. Zoom screen. Zoom window. How is that right there? What's up, Frank?
Not much. I'm on screen.
Yeah, you are on screen. Yes.
Welcome. I'm a little late. Family stuff. This
a little
was
bit.
A little, not really planned, but hey, I made it. You're still going. An hour and a half.
I know it. Yeah, I had a lot to say. I'm surprised. I'm surprised people are still listening to me. So Christopher Ritchie in the chat asks, "What is MCOM?"
What is MCOM?
It's EMCOM. It's an abbreviation for emergency communications. MCOM is emergency communications.
And it'd be about ham radio. We're all about some emergency communications.
Yes. True. James F. Pop says HRO has an FT3DR as the low price radio from Yaesu. It's not. So yeah. Mike says that DMR will do analog too. Yes. 98, 99% of your DMR radios will also do analog. So you can have, but that's true for D-Star and Fusion also. The FT3DR is a Fusion radio, but it'll do analog. So it's all good.
Noel says I beat him to it. I had to move and plug in a camera.
Yeah.
So there's almost no excuse, Noel.
Yeah, almost no excuse. So,
did you say all you wanted to say about GMRS and FRS?
Pretty
and
much.
two-way?
Yeah, I was just kind of taking questions from the chat right now.
Does I know this is a bad word in ham radio. I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Brace yourself. CB radio. Does that fall in under ECOMs and this kind of theme?
I think that it does. And you know what? I actually recorded a video on that 3 or 4 days ago. I haven't posted it yet. But yes, CB radio in my mind is not a bad word. Some people think it is. I don't personally agree with that. I think that in an NCOM situation, you should have everything. You should have FRS, you should have CB, you should have GMRS, you should have ham radio.
Well, each tool for its purpose here.
Right.
FRS and GMRS are great for local communication. And
Correct.
I believe you probably beat this horse already. It's all localized. But CB, that can carry. And there's our CB radios out there, but you can have on a CB, don't crucify me if I'm wrong, up to 50 watts maybe transmitting?
4 watts, and now it's AM, so 4 watt carrier, and then your modulation or your what they call swing can be as high as it is, and you can have different EIRP antennas that'll make your effective radiated power more than 4 watts. But 4 watt carrier is the maximum legal limit on CB.
Yeah,
now,
I'm not very well versed on CB.
Yeah. Now, what I say is have everything. Yeah, I'm not against CB radio.
But CB is...
I would not trade my ham radio for a CB radio, but I would add a CB radio to my list, to my tools in my tool bag.
That's what I was going with.
Yeah.
CB radios are out there.
Yes.
Truckers have them. People in the countries, a lot of them have them. If you're
Yep.
part of a Jeep group,
Yeah.
likely you might have one.
Yep.
They're great communications devices. They're very prevalent.
Yes.
That's why they got to be in your e-coms plans.
Right. And in reality, if you're actually in like a grid down, like a hurricane, post-hurricane Katrina, post-hurricane Harvey situation, do you think that more people are going to be, if they can't fire up their cell phone, if they're trying to make calls on their cell phone and they're failing, do you think more people are going to have a ham radio stuck in their garage or a CB radio stuck in their garage somewhere?
I think it's a ham radio.
Sorry,
CB.
I think it's a CB radio.
I'm trying to get something loaded here on the side.
Yeah, I'm trying to think it's a CB. Let me thank some super chats real quick.
Yeah, shoot, go for it.
Did I think Dawn N5SKT transverters are addictive and it's all your fault. Very true. Thank you for the super chat, Don. Appreciate you being here tonight, buddy. Don's always a regular in the chat. Really appreciate his support. Ryan Mather, 357 on the super chat. Good to see Frank. Great chat tonight. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome, man.
Also, let's see. Paul Croteau. That's a French word. I don't speak French very well. Just passed tech exam, bought a BTEC UV 5x3. I have no idea what my next steps are. What do I actually do next to get started? Good radio. Okay, so the BTEC line of radios are awesome. Okay, the BTEC, Baofeng Tech is actually made in North Carolina. They're made in the USA. Their offices are in the USA. Your tech support for them is in the USA. The 5x3 is a tri-band. So what they basically do is they take the Baofeng radios from China and they rework them and make them better. Okay, so I think you're going to be really happy with that radio. I have one of those myself. I carry it often when I'm out in the field. I would say use the RFinder app on your phone or maybe Repeater Book on your phone. Look up repeaters in your area, program your radio accordingly, and get on some repeaters. That's what I would do. So that the 5x3 is a fantastic radio. I really like mine. Luis Carmoega, $10 super chat. Thank you much for being here, Luis. Appreciate the support tonight.
All right, I give up. I had a clip to play, but
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, you said grid down, and I got some clips.
Oh, save those for tomorrow.
Well, they're not tomorrow. This is for my video that I'm working on Monday, February 5th. The 1st. It's first.
Okay. I thought it was for tomorrow, Monday Night Ham Radio.
No, I'm not that expedient with making videos yet.
Okay.
But I am looking at doing something with mesh nodes. I think I already gave that hint out. Got to reshoot some clips, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. Oh, you know what? Tio sent me the link for tomorrow night real quick. Let me find that. There it is. Okay, so tomorrow night with Monday Night Ham Radio. Let's see. I haven't added my video to it yet, and that's funny.
What's up?
Christian has a funny. So people are on the Bernie kick with the Bernie Sanders meme. That's funny. So okay, so I'm going to share the link for Monday Night Ham Radio tomorrow night, starting I think about 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Oh, you just shared it. Okay, so the link that Frank just shared in the chat, Monday Night Ham Radio tomorrow night. What we do is several YouTubers and I get together and we'll release videos in a row. And it's usually like, hey, we'll watch one, and when that one ends, we'll go to the next one. When that one ends, we'll go to the next one. It's a very formatted structure, and it is a fun time to just follow the chat and be in a live chat on multiple videos. So it's a good time. Mike says Repeater Book is your best sort of data. I would disagree with that. RFinder is actually better. At least as far as DMR radios, DMR repeaters go.
RFinder cost?
It does. RFinder is $12.95 a year. Repeater Book is free.
More up to date.
But yes, especially for their DMR stuff. especially for your DMR stuff. Our Finder synchronizes with radioid.net. Okay, now I haven't used Repeater Book in 2 or 3 years, but the last time I used them, their DMR stuff was way out of date. Not very good at all. But that's what it is. You know, you want to use Repeater Book? That's fine. Go ahead. I'm not telling you what to use, but the RFinder stuff, as far as DMR, is much more accurate. So
you just got a new tablet there? Who makes that?
I got an RFinder tablet. Yeah, I'm having to work through a couple of things with it because it works great actually for a 5-watt tablet. But there's a couple of things on it, like there's not like the screen goes off, and if it doesn't have a constant internet connection, it gives this error message on the screen. You've lost internet. I was like, I know, I don't have an internet. I'm freaking mobile right now. So there's probably a setting in there I'm missing. I need to turn off.
Woot, the Frank Show. Full screen. KG5AHJ, and welcome to Tank Radio. Oh, you changed it. Oh, I just got the lag.
I did change it. Yeah. You were up there for like 3 seconds.
I know.
So.
But back to kind of like e-com stuff.
Yeah.
Repeater Book, RFinder, all that's great until you don't have power. If we're talking true emergency e-coms, I have everything written down for Gmrs frequencies, FRS frequencies, and a little booklet that's with all my my to-go bags or my search and rescue bags. I have the frequencies written down for the local repeaters. I have national calling frequencies written down because in a pinch, and if mine goes blank,
are you talking about without power, or are you talking about without internet?
I'm talking about I don't need my cell phone to look it up for me.
Okay.
I have all this written down so that I can go ahead and just pick up any radio that I know how to program and it'll be in there. I'm not going to rely on the radio having this stuff already programmed in.
Yeah. So RFinder will allow you to download the database to your phone. And you know, you can do that like Google Maps. Google Maps will allow you to download your local area map to your phone. So if you lose
what's going on.
Right. So if you lose internet connection, you've got that whole thing on your phone. Repeater Book might do that too. I don't know. I don't use Repeater Book. But
just old-fashioned ham log.
Yeah.
It's always there. I don't have to worry about having this thing powered on to look it up.
Yeah. True.
There's my 2 cents. And I missed the boat. I am the boat.
Clark said you missed the boat. Clark's in every video we ever post, so he's right, and you're not. That's all I'll say.
Oh, man.
Doesn't RFinder B1 do that? I don't know what that you're talking about is, but everything I just said, yes. The RFinder app is available on every Android and every iPhone device there is, period. The RFinder B1 runs off of that app, which is available on everything else. But yes, I mean, I assume that what you're talking about is what I was just talking about with RFinder. The B1 will do that. My B1's inside. I don't have it with me right now, but I've got an RFinder B1, and it runs off of the app, and it runs great.
Was that question related to the offline stuff?
Well, I don't know. He just says, "Will RFinder B1 do that?" I don't know what that was.
I was just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
If we're talking about future stuff coming up, Winter Field Day, man, I'm excited.
Winter Field Day is going to be fun. Did you figure out did you watch the beginning of the video?
No.
I said we were going to have a special guest. Don't say who it is.
Do I know?
Yeah, you should. You should. He's in the chat tonight.
He's in the chat.
Yeah, or he was earlier. Yeah. It's not Noel. It's not Bob from RFinder. Bob from RFinder is going to be back here again.
I am ecstatic. We finally get presence or grace with the presence of the Noel.
The Noel.
He's had some busy stuff going on, but it looks like he's poking his head up, and I can't wait to hang out with him and play radio.
Yeah. So firefighter. Oh, firefighter. It took me a minute to figure out what that word was. Firefighter. Noel is knowledgeable in that area. I'll just say that.
I'm not saying a word.
I'm not saying a word. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We're good. So
are you bringing any special toys you want to talk about?
I've already talked about that a bit, but I'll talk about it again. So we're going to have a brand new prototype antenna that is freaking awesome that I used at the NAQSO Party single sideband contest last Saturday. A week ago yesterday. Holy cow. Bad times. Oh, it was freaking awesome. So gonna have fun with that sucker. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna record a video about it, and I might get our special guest on the video. I don't know where he went. He probably went to sleep. That dude goes to bed at like 7 o'clock at night. So Frank's gonna probably get a video about it, but Winter Field Day next weekend, KN5TR. If you guys are planning on working Winter Field Day, be sure and listen for KN5TR.
I am going to attempt, and I'm hoping, I'm probably going to jinx this. This is going to be the ending of my satellite series. If I can make contacts at Winter Field Day, because I'm going to use the Woxen radio, and I got the converters in today. I can use it with the Arrow 2 antenna. I have everything for me, except, man, those guys go fast. Have you listened to the satellite stuff? Da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. I'm barely even comprehending of what they're saying, and they already had 3 contacts down.
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm gonna try.
Mike Chittenden, wire antenna ? Yes. In essence, it is a wire, or it's maybe wires. So
a dipole's wires.
Your special Philip says your special guest is still running on Eastern time. He knows who it is. Yes. Yeah, you're right about that, Philip. Yeah, he's not there anymore. Where'd he go? He probably went to feed his cat. So
yes, I'm calling the mothership null. We're trying to get it to come out. Plus, satellite contacts are multipliers. We did look that up.
Oh, well, then you have to operate as KN5TR.
I will operate KN5TR.
Okay.
I'm still counting it for my video as a success if I do make successful contact.
I think if you get it on video, that is proof of success. I think I'm good with that. Yeah. I know what antenna I think. Craig.
So Don, record, yes. Make sure all the mics work, yes. And make sure that red light is on, yes.
And make sure,
and hopefully the satellite passes when there's daylight outside.
Dude, we'll be there for. Are you coming down? When are you coming down, Frank?
I was originally thinking about Thursday, but going out shopping, picking up all the food, I was probably going to do that Thursday, and it'd just be more relaxful just for me to leave Friday morning first thing.
No, you need to come out Thursday night.
Thursday night?
Thursday night. I'll be there Thursday morning. Okay, so I'll be there Thursday morning. Jason from DX Mini, who is not our special guest, he's going to pick up Bob at the airport early afternoon Thursday.
You snuck out of that one.
Yeah, I did. I didn't even plan that. And Bob pinged me the other day. He's like, "Oh, Jason's going to pick me up." I'm like, "Great." So I'm going to go out Thursday morning, and I've got some my propane bottles ran out last weekend because I got a leak in one of the regulators. So I bought a new regulator. I'm going to put all that together on Thursday morning when I go out there, get the campfire, get camp set up and all that. Jason's going to pick up Bob from the airport early afternoon, and they'll be out by like 4 or 5. So the 3 of us will be there Thursday night. I think Jake might be out that night.
Okay.
He might come out. He said he took Friday off. So I'm going to try to get him to come out that night. I don't know what time he leaves work that night. But you should come out Thursday night. Even if it's late, that's cool. It's not a big deal. We'll have the campfire going. I'll have a cigar lit.
No, you're talking my tune right now.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, come out there Thursday night. Noel, I don't know what your schedule is, buddy, but I'll be out there Thursday morning to Sunday afternoon, so come out as early as you can and stay as long as you can.
I'm a little worried about Saturday. They have slight chance of showers.
Nah, we've got 2 of those canopy things we'll put over the camp area. We'll be good. It's no problem.
My car and mud don't mix.
Okay, number 1, fail. Number two, it's a deer lease. If you don't have a 4x4, that's your fault.
Oh, come on. I had that CRV. It's just driving to Eulist and Eulist to Richardson every day pre-COVID.
And when you got rid of the CRV, did you get a Ford F-250?
No, I don't need no big truck. That will just be war gas mileage waste. I love my Civic.
I do not love your Civic. So if you love your Civic, that's fine. But no complaining when you come to the deer lease and it rains.
No,
that's the new rule.
I do need to get a second vehicle, and that's kind of on the radar. But when I got the quotes to do tile in my house, I think that ate up that money too.
Oh yeah, that's not cheap. So
yeah.
So Noel says I can be out Thursday night. Let me know what I need to bring.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have food for how many days of food do you have, Frank?
I was thinking
how many dinners. I know Bob's going to do a brisket. I think Saturday.
If I'm coming up Thursday night, you're on your own for dinner on Thursday night. I'm just going to buy something driving up. I was going to do dinner Friday.
Okay.
Grilled chicken thighs. I'm just going to buy a large thing of raw chicken thighs and throw my rub on there and grill them. Bob was doing the brisket Saturday. I was going to bring food for breakfast. Get a big box of sausage patties and 1.5 dozen of eggs. If someone else wants to bring bacon, go for it.
I'll get some bacon.
Cool.
So we have dinner on Friday and Saturday covered, Noel. Bring something to put
lunches, on the I'm leaving up in the air.
Yeah, lunches can be up in the air. I'll bring some sandwich meat. Noel did say you were arguing with a guy who lifted his pinky while drinking from a bright blue bottle. Yeah.
Yes. I thought this was beer the other night.
It is not.
It is not. It's sake. I opened it.
Sake's good.
I opened it and I took swigs off it like it was beer. I was like, holy, nope.
Mike says bring it aside. Mike says bring MREs. I don't have MREs, but I do have mountain trail.
Hey, that's my storage food.
Freeze dried soda food. I have that. So yeah.
I figured, to be honest, lunches could be leftovers of anything.
Yeah.
Probably we're not going to eat all the dinner thighs that I'm going to cook up. I am going to the first lunch. I'm there, so probably Friday lunch. Whip up some beans, and we're going to have those for the rest of the trip.
Awesome. Jeremy, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate you being here tonight. You
sides
donated the other night, and
I don't have plans for sides other than my beans. So if people wants to bring sides,
I'll bring some macaroni salad, and I'll get some sandwich meat, and there's bread out there, but I might pick up another loaf of bread, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I plan to
Kroger's macaroni salad. You're my favorites.
I go to Tom Thumb, but it's kind of the same thing. Yep. So yeah, Red Summit. Did somebody say soda food? Yes, I did. Yeah, the Mountain House, the freeze dried. I call it soda food. In fact, I searched Amazon, and in fact, I have on my Amazon store. I think I have soda food. Just freeze dried.
Well, to be honest, the MREs versus the Mountain House. The Mountain House, you have to have hot water.
Yes.
The MREs, you just have to have water.
Yes.
They have a chemical reaction stuff to boil it or make it hot.
Yeah, but they make those little stoves that are propane powered that are like this big. I mean, there's no reason not to have hot water.
I don't know what gesture you're making, but yes. Yeah. But I know what you're talking about.
Can you not see me?
No, you're not sending me video.
Oh.
I'm watching the delayed video on YouTube. But yes, I know what you're talking about. The little like camping stove things that can sit on top of the portable propane bottle. Ooh, video.
Oh yeah, there you go. I didn't realize I turned that off. Okay. So yeah.
And I will be bringing my Go Kit and using the Go Kit to cook on.
Good. Okay. All right, good. So hey guys, thank you very much, Frank. I'm gonna do a shutdown real quick.
Go ahead.
So,
and No, if you want to jump on that link, you know what link it is. I'll probably hang out here for a little bit and we'll iron out more details if you want.
Yeah, anybody, I didn't see Jason or Bob in the chat, but anybody who wants to join my Zoom and talk about Winter Field Day is welcome to do so in the next few minutes. So I'm going to turn you off for a second, Frank.
Go for it.
So I would like to specially thank my patrons tonight. Turn that off. The patrons make the show possible. You can go to patreon.com/hamradio. You can sign up and support Patreon. I've kind of had a slow start this year, but starting in February, I'm going to start doing monthly private Zoom calls with my patrons that are the middle grade and higher tier. So we're going to get on a Zoom call, talk about whatever the heck you guys want to talk about. We're going to I'll record it and I'll post it to Patreon so that only the patrons can see it. So it won't be public access. But I would like to thank Monty, Aaron, B.A. Black, Jeff Neely, Jim, Dan, David, Adam, Andrew, David, Kevin Adams, Richard Bueller, Dan, Park City's Amateur Radio Club, Christopher Wiggins, Rob Matheson, Michael, Andy, Greg, Mike Adams, Todd, Robert Lyons, Craig Boyer, Dennis G., Oof Radio, Richard Schwartz, Lewis Klein, Robert Bresman, Randall Hensley, Hawk Bennett, James Dowis, Paul Sweeney, Ellen X. Guy, Bill Brady, David Kedrick, and Mike in Texas. Thank you for making this show possible and for supporting the show over the last, some of you have been here for more than 2 years. So really appreciate the patrons tonight and the great chat and the great YouTube membership. All the guys in the chat who have green text as their name, those are my YouTube channel members. And I do a YouTube channel membership live stream usually on the second Wednesday of the month. We're going to try something different next month, see how it works out. And I still want to do a Q&A. Now, somebody came along earlier and said that Dave Kasler does a Q&A. Yes, he does, and he does an excellent job doing Q&A. And Hayden from Ham Radio DX did an Ask an Elmer Q&A tonight. And those guys, and you should watch all of that stuff if you have questions and answers. What I want to do is something a little bit different, and I want to start up a stream, and I want to bring you, the watcher, on to video. And if you don't want to join in video, you can join in audio. That's fine too. You can join in either audio or audio and video. You can come on and you can ask me whatever you want, and I will answer what I can, and the audience can answer what they can, and we're going to let you talk for 5 or 10 minutes, then go on to the next person. So we're going to do that starting probably next month, probably at the first or second Sunday of February, and it will be a fun time, I think. With audience interaction is really fun, in my opinion. I think you guys in the chat have done very well. Keeping up with the chat, answering questions in the chat, asking questions in the chat, being supportive in the chat. That's one of the reasons I do this. If there was only 3 people watching me on live streams, I probably wouldn't do it much anymore. But we had over 400 people watching tonight, and that was really fun. So 73 to everybody. Thank you for watching. Be sure to catch Monday Night Ham Radio tomorrow night. I'm going to share that link again. It's right here. There's only 3 videos posted on it right now, but there will be at least 2 or 3 more posted before it goes live tomorrow. So bookmark that site, put a bell notification on it, sign on tomorrow night, and watch us for Monday Night Ham Radio. I appreciate everyone being here tonight. If you do have any questions about anything discussed tonight or anything at all, anything you would like to see on an upcoming episode, send me an email, kc5hwb@gmail.com. 73, and happy Winter Field Day. I hope to hear you on the air this weekend.